campaign to end racism.
Oh, sorry, it clicked on it.
Now better or worse?
Let's go into it.
People in Britain.
Let's have a look at some of the results from our Good Morning Britain survey, which has revealed that fewer than half of black people surveyed think the BLM movement has improved the lives of black people in Britain, while 10% say it has made things worse. 46% of black people say the campaign has had no impact on their opportunities in life, while 50% of white people surveyed say the campaign has improved their understanding of the issues affecting the lives of black people.
Yes, 100. Well,
so,
of course.
From
That's who it was aimed
we are
at.
joined this morning by presenter and comedian David Sideman Whiteley, who quit his job at BBC Radio 1 Extra after the use of the N-words in a news broadcast.
Right, can I just say, I don't know. I just clicked on it. I'm going straight into it. I don't know. I'm not here to curse anyone out. I haven't got. Obviously, my dog in the fight is my people. But after the Good Morning Britain thing with that other disgrace, I thought this came on just now. This is this morning. It's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon now. This is from 7 o'clock this morning when it went out live. So I'm riding off it live. So I might have to stop and curse people out. Hopefully I won't. I don't know. But after the quality of the conversation the last one, I'm not too optimistic about how this one's going to go down. Who's going to... Well, let's see. We're going into it. Ride with me.
For which the Director General of the BBC subsequently apologised. We're also joined from Manchester by political commentator and writer Dominic Samuels, and from Bedfordshire we're joined by G. Trurara, former Met Police officer and diversity trainer. Very good morning to you all. David Sideman Whiteley, how do you... I mean, you have been in the news right at the sort of forefront of the effect of language, particularly racist language, in the last couple of months. How do you feel right now about what progress has been made, considering you left your job as a result?
Round about the Wiley time, just after the Wiley time. That was just after the Wiley.
I feel very, very positive, but that's just coming from understanding that transition is always a tumultuous thing. Like if you're building a house and you're starting with the foundation, that is dirt and that is digging down. It's not building up. And I feel like what's happening right now that would even make people suggest that things are worse or haven't changed is simply because what we're talking about tearing down is a system that has taken over 400 years to build. So it's not going to go down in a year, but I think that we've started to see change in that. A lot of corporations, a lot of organizations, a lot of businesses have been more held accountable than ever before, have pledged to help more than ever before. So I think it's undeniable that change has happened. It's just whether people are feeling that trickle down effect in their personal lives, which will of course take time.
So far, decent opener. I heard about this guy, the Sideman guy. I never listened to his show, but so far, decent opener. You know, he's not an embarrassment. I'll give it to the young brother. He's able to articulate himself. Let's go.
Dominic Samuels, let's come to you. You feel that I mean, quite a big view that you feel that the Black Lives Matter movement has had no positive effect at all. That seems quite an extreme view, really.
Well, I'm going to try...
Wait, Dominic is the girl. Dominic Samuels is the girl. Okay, sorry. Okay, I thought they had their names the wrong way round when they were in. So Dominic is the girl. Okay, I might have to play this again just so I can get in my head who was the old Bill that way. That's got to be the dude later used to be the old Bill. Anyway, let's get on with Dominic. Hello, Dominic. She looks nice.
And be balanced here. I think on a surface level, it's inspired certain conversations. So, for example, I remember particularly Alexandra Burke did this video where she was detailing her experience with racism in the music industry, which I think was quite powerful. But if we actually look at tangible change that has occurred, what has actually happened? Well, it's inspired the Royal Mail to paint post boxes black.
Go on, Kel!
It's inspired Uncle Ben's to get rid of some rice.
Go on, Kel!
It's inspired numerous corporations like Boohoo to virtue signal over racism. Meanwhile, they're exercising modern-day slavery in Leicester. That's because Black Lives Matter isn't actually about black people. On a surface level, it's purporting to be about black people, but it's really about pushing quite an extreme political message that actually has nothing to do with black people.
Go on, girl!
Dominic,
Can I just finish this point quickly?
Oh yes, of course they have to interrupt her.
People that have been a part of Black Lives Matter, for example, Iman Ayton, who actually organised Black Lives Matter protests, she's completely disavowed the movement because she said that Black Lives Matter, the organisation, hasn't been on the ground once, and they're pushing extremely political messages like getting rid of the police and abolishing capitalism. And these are things that the average people, and actually a lot of black people, 70% of black people have trust in the local police, 16 years and over. And a lot of black people can't...
Local police, different from when you're talking about the police force and the metropolitan police and you're walking through a certain manner, blah, blah, blah. I mean, at the end of the day, if we get burgled, who are we ringing? At the end of the day, if we see a little old biddy who we've known all of our lives getting robbed by some dickhead, who are we ringing? Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't go 100% gung-ho on this. I mean, the police force as an institution, institutionally racist, hello, right? But the realities on the ground, and I'll even pull up some stuff from the 1970s where it will show you that the attitude of the people in Brixton at the time was positive to the local police. It was the CID, those outwardly racist dudes. Do you know what I mean? It's only when they came along that's when we had like major problems. But anyway, loving this chick.
In the local police, 16 years and over, and a lot of black people don't really understand this either, and that's why it's created such a divisive political environment.
So what I was just going to interrupt and say, and apologies for interrupting, but Dominic, there is a difference, isn't there, between the movement and I think you're right. A lot of people would have issues with the organised movement Black Lives Matter. But I think there is the message Black Lives Matter with which most people would agree, even without subscribing to some of the more radical elements of the organised movement. If we can talk about, the Black Lives Matter message, which is so important, do you think that has changed things?
The message, it's not the organised.
Can I just say, this is a much better highbrow, intellectually stimulating conversation, more closer to the truth than that sad excuse for an afro a couple of weeks ago. I'm actually digging this, and I'm digging this chick Dominique Samuels here. Dominique Samuels got a new fan. I'm going to look for her on Twitter. I'm not going to stalk or anything like that, but you got yourself a new fan. Anyway, hold on a second. But I don't know, because I haven't got to the end of this yet. I don't know how it's all going to pan out. Let's have a listen.
Things.
This is the problem, though, because people are now saying, well, it's the message, it's not the organisation. Well, It's the organisation that has brought the actual slogan Black Lives Matter into the limelight. If you remember the campaign that was Stand Up Against Racism, that was the campaign about racism in football, nobody had an issue with that at all. You can't separate the slogan and the organisation because they've essentially become one and the same. And what people are doing is they're using the slogan Black Lives Matter because the organisation is so notorious and started in America. Black Lives Matter UK isn't directly affiliated with the organisation in America, but one of the founders that identifies as a trained Marxist came over to the UK to sort out the organisation and actually endorses it. So when people try and make this separation, that's what's a part of the problem.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
I'm not sure I agree with
I can
that.
support the idea that Black Lives Matter.
Right. It's a beautiful young lady. She had me from hello, right? And boy, I mean, I'm subscribing to everything that she says so far. But come on, darling, when we get to that point, we know there's a separation between Black Lives Matter, the earthy, organic, grassroots feeling, that an outpouring that came from seeing the death of George Floyd, and the rabid feminazi, misandry, nutcases running like, for want of a better term, because I'm not trying to get myself. Anyway, we know there's a I slightly disagree with her there. Objection.
But the point is that you can believe in the issue, can't you? And the fact that, I mean, if you look at football, for example,
she does.
There's undeniable.
Hold on a second. Are you trying to be slick? She does believe in the issue. She does believe in the issue, but she believes in the issue in a higher brow sense rather than the low brow. Black Lives Matter, and we're going to march on the street as though that's going to change something, which is her point. So she is radical beyond their understanding. And they're now trying to paint her as though she's not sympathetic with the soulful expression of Black Lives Matter, which I believe she is. Anyway, let's carry on. Let's see if he can. He's trying to appears He's trying to appear as Morgan. Anyway, let's try.
Football has an issue with racism. They've tried to get rid of it for decades, and they haven't. The idea that players take a knee at the beginning of a game is huge. It's massive for the people who are racist or in the stands or at home.
Well, it's not that massive. But they took a knee from me. Come on now, he's being a bit like Step and Fetch It, a bit like Stephen. Oh, come on now.
Watching it to see that is just an issue, isn't it? No one cares. No one really cares about the organisation at that point.
Yeah. But that's the issue, though. It's the organisation that started all of this. The taking the knee thing has been heavily politicised and utilised by the organisation. Of course, I believe that Black Lives Matter. But when everyone is jumping on this bandwagon and a lot of people don't really know that much about the organisation, it's not going to lead to actual tangible change.
I'm with you.
People need economic policies in this country, and not once has Black Lives Matter actually proposed anything of any substance that's actually going to change anything for black people.
I love it.
Hardly anyone thinks it has.
Yeah, and David, you'd put.
I love this
girl.
girl.
You made an interjection about that point.
Yeah, because I just feel like, no offense to Dominique, but she's being extra woke in a situation that don't need that, because she's saying that, you know, people don't know and they're joining the bandwagon. But the thing is that her saying that you can't divorce the Black Lives Matter, the sentiment from the organization, yes, you can, because messaging matters. It's like the whole defund the police concept. That was bad messaging, because defund the police, even though we understand what they meant, the immediate message isn't impactful enough, because it gives a negative connotation in people's mind.
I'm conflicted here. I like her. I like him. So far, no one's embarrassing us. Two authentics. Neither of these look like a placebo. I'm not like I'm here to find fault, right? But come on, as soon as I saw black faces on GMTV, I'm like, what bullshit is this now? I thought, you know, it's gonna be some stupidness. But so far, I'm loving her, and my guy, he's gone up in my estimation. Okay, let's carry on.
Whereas now, to try to take down the phrase Black Lives Matter, just so you can change it to something else when there's so much momentum behind that phrase. Number one, to be clear, in the Black Lives Matter movement in Britain, which I consider not to be any one organization, but multiple different organizations and people with the one mindset that we want.
True, bruv, but that's not who people. True, that is true. Black Lives Matter here is a feeling, and it's an amalgam of different interests. All the sun's coming out again now. I changed the exposure; is going to be too bright. However, yeah, that's not who gets the money when hearts that are concerned decide to donate. That's not who gets the money, though, is it? Black Lives to Matter.
There have been people that have been pushing for policies to change. There have been people that have been pushing for the education system to change and properly reflect what's happening in Britain today to black people, so that there's more social awareness, not just from black people, but across the board, about what we're dealing with. To spend time now wasting time in attacking the phrase and attacking the sentiments of some, or the political agenda of some, is a waste of time in actually getting things done. It's a wasteful conversation, in my opinion.
Let's bring in G Tarawa here. G, there's perhaps some discussion.
Okay, so this is the G Tarawa. I thought she would have been called G Tarawa and he would have been called Dominic. Okay, Stan, you know, on the intro I got that 100% wrong. Anyways, so this is the guy that used to be Old Bill. So far, I have to say, for Good Morning Britain, there was no peers. We've got this guy here. I don't know who his name is. I'll put his name in. And thus far, a conversation about the impact of Black Lives Matter campaign. I came here thinking, oh no, what sort of disgrace is this going to be? Thus far, I've been pleasantly surprised by both representations. Even though they're both. I'm on both trains here. I'm on both tracks here. I prefer hers, but I'm on both tracks here. Got no problem with how these guys have been representing themselves and us thus far. Cool. Let's get down to the former copper.
discussion to be had about, OK, you can have protests, you can have slogans, you can believe in an issue, but how do we eventually see systemic change? How do we see a change in a system? The things that Sideman's talks about there, that more equality in education and the workplace for black people and all people of different minorities. Whose responsibility is that? And will this...
See, we can't help doing it for black people and all people of... Like, when can we just talk about black people? But he's Asian, so he's going to have to throw in that. And all... you must be noticing that, right? We can't talk about black people without someone throwing it in. If there's going to be something about reparations, if it's going to be something about compensation for Windrush, and every other, and the Kosovans, and the blah, 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 they can get it as well. Okay, but some things about Windrush, and you're mentioning, oh, the Greeks and the Turks, when they came over, they can get it. It's like, okay, it's available for all, okay. But we're talking about the Windrush generation. If you notice that keeps happening, everything that's specific to us keeps getting diluted. But I'm not complaining so far. I'm good. Let's carry on. We're 3/4 of the way through.
Have that consequence? Is this the start of that, do you think?
For me, it's the start. It's a conversation. I'm a facilitator by trade, and to me, it's about the conversation. And this is an area where I say it's like a hedgehog. Everybody has a point, and it's about finding a way to bring all those points to a place of understanding. And when we work in this space, one of the difficulties is everybody wants to be right, and nobody wants to find that point of understanding or find that point of cooperation. And we are at the very beginning to...
Mate, what are you talking about? Did I get lost? Because so far, I'm enamored with her. I'm impressed with him. I'm not here to call anybody down. Let's go back. Maybe I lost concentration. Maybe I was the one who lost concentration. Hold on.
Whether Black Lives Matter has had an impact, I think it's too soon. What I'm seeing is conversations are taking place, like this one on here now. What I'm seeing as personalities are now coming up and using their voices, whether they be celebrities or political pundits or entertainers.
Okay.
You know, the people are now having the space to say, this is how I feel about this issue.
True.
Yeah, and it's important to have those conversations, but I just wonder whether, and they are vital, if that black square doesn't translate into apprenticeships and job opportunities and, you know, tackling the disproportionate number of black people who are stopped and searched and a black barrister who has to get an apology in a court because she is repeatedly mistaken for a defendant. You know, change has to come from the conversation because the conversation isn't sufficient.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, if I walk into a class, I can't do change in 5 minutes. It's not going to happen. I can't go into a room and say, right, in the next 5 minutes, you're all going to change. It's a process. It takes time. And the difference is everybody has a different expectation of how long it should take. And that creates a problem because... Go ahead, David.
Can I just say something? I think we are starting to see that change happen in terms of accountability, and it's because we keep talking. We lack the economic infrastructure, right, to speak on that level, to affect change on that level at this present moment in time. But what we have been doing is using our voices, our amplified voices, where it has been amplified more now than ever.
True. Good point. And I would say, where are the rappers? Where are the British rappers? That part of our culture that vocalizes what's going on in society through spoken word and music. Where are you over this point? George Floyd. Hey, when I was a boy, when I was a kid, there would have been a rap tune about everything. Yeah, right? When I was a kid, come on, man. Fight the power. Yeah? All of the foundation that was supposedly you guys were supposed to have built on in order to get you in the situation that you're in now where thousands of young people listen to you. Don't give me that shit about, I don't have to be no role model. Fuck you, but then you're the first of the traitorous layer that have abused the attentions of your people in order to milk them for your own selfish ends, because that's what you'd be doing. This guy's hitting the nail on the head to a point where I didn't even know this was coming, so let me stop. He's saying the truth. It's got to a point where we're supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to be utilizing our platform to bring more attention to the injustices, which is what I'm doing, the injustices in education, what people have been getting away with in education, the disgusting racism that's been going on in education. I'm drawing attention to that. Other people, if you think, once again, if it's that bad where they're kneeling on your neck with the police, what do you think it's like in education? What do you think it's like in the judiciary? You're meant to be bringing your own personal position to bear on this subject, to show other people and help educate other people. As you saw in those stats there, 50% of white people said it helped them understand. That means there's another 50% of white people going, no. They don't want to understand. But for 50% of white people interviewed to say they understand more, they don't even actually have to. You do understand how English people are. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily, just because 50% of people say they understand more doesn't mean that 50% of English people agree. You know that, right? They just say, oh I understand. I understand more. Yeah, oh, fuck them. But I understand more, right? So I'm not reading too much into that either. Fact of the matter is, of all the people that are involved, the descendants of the slave trade, yeah, we're supposed to have been utilizing our position, our notoriety, our popularity to bring attention to the ills and injustices of society so that the people after us get a better ride. Right? It's going to expose the selfish ones right now. Where's the George Floyd thing? Where's the okay, that's in America, right? Where's the lockdown tunes? Right, okay, shut down. Okay, but shut down. But you didn't know. He didn't know about that when he did shut down. He didn't know about. Where's the shutdown for the shutdown? Right? Where's the shutdown for the shutdown? Where's the Corona? Where's that Rona tune? Anyways, sorry. Something to think about, because that's the bar. Some black guy getting onto YouTube and making a video, hoping people watch it. Other people in a position where they could just say one or two things and hundreds of thousands of people hear it. Are they utilizing that position responsibly to help the rest of us? Or are they just being selfish mothers? Anyway, let me listen. Sorry about the rant, but hey.
Average black person feels more now like they can share about their circumstances more than ever. And
do you remember the time when you couldn't say white supremacy in English? Let me finish this because I got something to say.
Sharing about that, you embarrass these businesses, you embarrass these corporations. For instance, like the issue that you mentioned of somebody who's a judge or somebody who's in the court system being accused of being somebody else. When we speak openly about these things, now there is an accountability that we're having where we're embarrassing those that do these things against us, whereas we were quiet in the workplace before, huddling up amongst each other saying, yeah, this happened to me, but never feeling like we can have that wider conversation because we felt like white people wouldn't understand us.
But this guy's the truth. I'm loving this guy. It's a shame that they were a little bit at loggerheads because essentially I'm loving both of them. Let me carry on.
White people wouldn't understand us, but right now it's a bonnet if they understand us or not. We're going to say these things. Open up the thing, and I believe that you can't heal what you don't reveal, and I think that from having these open conversations, we're seeing more accountability. Whether you want to go to the fact that me leaving the BBC just over 24 hours later, there was an apology. We are seeing accountability more so now than before.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I want to go back to this, brothers. I need to take this guy in again, just to see if he contributed anything, because I'm giving everyone... That was a really good set of interviews by black people that look like me, that come from my genetic DNA bloodline. Oh my gosh, that was actually good. I'm not here to cuss anything. Oh, actually, I'm here to cuss stuff out. I am here to cuss stuff out. But that was actually good. Hold on a second, because like good, yeah, like that's the guy that used to work for the old Bill, right? So here's my girl nailing things on the head, making me slap the walls and shit, almost dropped my plate of food, right? Here's this brother coming with the, yeah, he's coming deep. Okay, cool, I was loving it, right? Because both of these guys have just utilized their platforms, right, to speak to the public. They've utilized their position to communicate to the public, right? And personally, I think they did it quite well. Hold on.
Whose responsibility is that? And will this have...
Let me give the other guy a fair shake.
The start of that, do you think?
A fair crack.
For me, it's the start. It's a conversation. I'm a facilitator by trade.
Dude, no one asked you what you were, right? Everyone just went into it. Like...
And to me, it's about the conversation. And this is an area where...
It's about the conversation. I'm not here to go. It's not about the conversation. It's about tangibles, as the lady said. Tangibles. The conversation. It's not about the conversation. We've been discussing things for hundreds of years and people aren't listening. Tangibles, dudes.
Where I say it's like a hedgehog. Everybody has a point.
Yeah, and most of the people with a point have been racist points, bruv. Yeah? The whole point here is the young lady was making a very fantastic point about the difference between the grassroots Black Lives Matter and the George Soros-sponsored lesbian at the top, black man hating organization that's been creaming money off the death of black men, making a fantastic point. She was anyway, carrying on. Wait, hang on, or did he make the distinction? No, she conflated the two. She conflated the two. He was the one who made the distinction. Either way, I don't care. Their disagreements were minor.
And it's about finding a way to bring all those points to a place of understanding. And when we work in this...
By the way, dad jokes was not the right place for this. Oh, young lady, beautiful lady was serious on her game. Bruv came with the A game. Woo! Right? And I'm sorry, I'm feeling just vague, like, well, you know, we've got to take in all, we don't know until we have the entire video. And that's what I'm hearing here on Reflex. I didn't want to be like this.
And it's about finding a way to bring all those points to a place of understanding.
No, it's not. It's about a system of justice, a replacing system of injustice with a system of justice where people tell the truth. So we don't have to come to a place of understanding when everyone's telling the truth. You only have to come to a place of understanding when other people do not believe your truth. Am I lying?
And when we work in this space, one of the difficulties is everybody wants to be right. And nobody wants to find that.
And that's the thing. Like, when he said everybody wants to be right, what that's saying to me, what I'm hearing as a negotiator, as someone who's participated in the malfeasance of conversational deception, what I'm hearing here is you guys are stronger than me. My position is a bit... So I have to say, you young guys, you need to calm down because, you know, all of this bluster and everything, while not having any solid point yourself. You're asking this person and that person to, you know, try and come together and we'll try and find it. No, where's your point? She came with a rapier. My guy came with the spear. Where's your point? You've come with that. That's what you've come with. Yeah? Didn't want to be like this.
That point of understanding or find that point of cooperation. And we are at the very beginning to ask whether Black Lives Matter has had an impact.
How are we at the very beginning? What are we at the very beginning of? What was the 1960s, right? So it's disappointing when I hear old black people like this try to dull the energy and the fierceness of what's coming up from underneath them to almost try to present themselves as the pragmatic wise elder, trying to calm things down from being too extreme. Things need to be extreme. Oh, Bill.
Impact. I think it's too soon. What I'm seeing is conversations are taking place, like this one on here now. What I'm seeing as person...
Mate, conversations have to take place now because the young people under my generation have forced the narrative. Right? That's why conversations are being taken place. I wonder how many black people complained about what happened last week with Piers and the conservative bad Afro thing. Right? These guys are there because the public must have got in your arse about the lameness of that yellow thing that was representing black people. And here we had two black people that did it fantastically well. I cannot sing the praises high enough of the Dominique lady and the Sideman guy. You know their names. It's the first time I watched. Come on, man, give me a break. Anyways, this guy here, though, man, he's come with the here's my point.
personalities are now coming up and using their voices, whether they be celebrities or political pundits or entertainers.
Sorry, and that's the thing. Yes, personalities are coming up and using their voices. You got your Idris Elbus. You got well, no, sorry, he was Mr. Face of COVID. Sorry, Idris, you're my boy. Fool, come back when you sort yourself out. You got your John Boyegas stepping in there, blah blah, and they're high-profile guys saying something about it. Where's our guys on the streets? Where's our street people? Where's the man from the manor? Where's the guy from the manor? Where's the guy from the ends? Someone tell me. Once again, where's the people from the ends over this time? Right? Where's the people with more followers than me? Yeah, who hundreds of young people listen to right now, talking about what's going on, even the COVID, even the Rona, even like whether it's affecting black people or not. How many black people? I saw this one guy from Haringey that I bump into on a regular occasion. I saw he was in the news the other day because I mean like he's Caribbean like myself, and he was in the news saying like basically he knows several people that have died. I'm like, I don't know anyone that's died. I mean I know people that have been ill, and I've been ill myself. Don't know anyone that's died, and if it's disproportionately affecting the black community. Why is it disproportionately affecting the black community in the UK and not the black community in St. Lucia, and not the black community in Madagascar, and not the black community in other places where they have a 100% or 90% plus recovery rate and some no death rate, very few death rate, under 100 people, under 50 people, under 10 people in a lot of cases. What's the difference between us being black here and those black people over there? See, and this is just me shooting the shit in the middle of here. And there's... Well, I have to talk about it? I have to talk about it. And no one's like, black people, they're surviving over here, but when you come to England, they're dying. You can look at I regularly watch the live reports from Trinidad. They got COVID under control. They got the outbreaks under control. Dr. Rowley, no mask, no service. But the one time, do I have to ask a second? No mask, no service. Come, out my way. We're moving on to the next subject. You can stay in as long as there are not people around. But if there are, you can use the garden and have a picnic. Unless there are other picnics around. That's all we're getting here in the UK, right? I've digressed, because who else is talking about that? I have to freak out and go on some mad tangent to talk about that shit. Where's the guys from here talking about it? So I'm making a camera shadow when I do that. Anyway, let me finish cursing at this guy.
Pundits or entertainers. You know, the people are now having the space to say, this is how I feel about this issue.
Well, they should be. I agree. I don't know. He needs to tell me which ones are. Because they should be, but they're not. I mean, he's saying that they are. I'm here maintaining that they're not. That there should be more. That's what I'm saying. Let me put this out because I'm going to choke to death. Sound like I've got COVID in this place. Carry on.
Yeah, and it's important to have those conversations, but I just wonder whether, and they are vital, but there is a danger, isn't there? When everybody posted the black square on Instagram, it has, you know, it's fantastic for raising the issue and having the conversation. If that black square doesn't translate into apprenticeships and job opportunities and, you know, tackling the disproportionate number of black people who are stopped and searched, and a black barrister who has to get an apology in a court because she is repeatedly mistaken for a defendant, you know, change has to come from the conversation because the conversation isn't sufficient.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, if I walk into a class, I can't do change in 5 minutes. It's not going to happen. I can't go into a room and say, right, in the next 5 minutes, you're all going to change. It's a process. It takes time. And the difference is everybody has a different expectation of how long it should take. And that creates a problem because... Yeah. Go ahead, David.
Right, I don't... Oh, my God, is it me? Or why did it have to be the guy going, oh, it's going to take time, nothing's going to happen. It's the perfect outlet, the perfect escape. Why would you vocalize the perfect circumstances that racists need to deny that there's even a problem? It's going to take time. I know there was a campaign against racism. I had no idea. You know they're going to be doing that. Why? Oh, there's always one. There's always one. They always sneak one in. Dude, I'm not impressed by what you just said there at all.
Can I just say something? I think we are starting to see that change happen in terms of accountability.
Bam!
It's because we keep talking.
Bam! One time! And he, see, we've gone from Mr. Vague, it's going to take a long time. And my guys just come with the facts straight away. We're seeing accountability straight away. Thank you. That is advancing the conversation right there. Leave it to this guy and we will still be back going, I don't know, because it's going to take time and development, and things are going to change, and it's going to be piecemeal, and it won't be immediate. It's going to be incremental. Like, that's what I'm hearing. My guy came with the wabam straight away. Yeah, we're seeing change straight away. What? Wow.
We lack the economic infrastructure, right, to speak on that level, to affect change on that level at this present moment in time. But what we have been doing is using our voices, our amplified voices, where it has been amplified more now than ever. The average black person feels more now like they can share about their circumstances more than ever. And in sharing about that, you embarrass these businesses, you embarrass these corporations.
That's right.
The issue that you mentioned.
This brother, because he's telling you the truth. There was a solution, there was a strategy, there was a tactic. He's talking about cause and error, cause and effect, cause and error. He's talking about cause and effects, yeah, which is more prevalent now with things going viral. Are people able to get away with the racism as they did in the old days? Not if you're making them go viral and embarrassing their ass, and you know that's going to affect their bottom line. Pow! The beautiful comeback. That's a comeback to the ex-copper. Wow. Well done, these guys. See the young fire? Do you see the young fire?
Somebody who's a judge or somebody who's in the court system being accused of being somebody else. When we speak openly about these things, now there is an accountability that we're having where we're embarrassing those that do these things against us, whereas we were quiet in the workplace before, huddling up amongst each other saying, yeah, this happened to me, but never feeling like we can have that wider conversation because we felt like white people wouldn't understand us. But right now it's a bonnet if they understand us or not. We're going to say these things.
Bonnet!
Then we're going to open up the thing. And I believe that you can't heal what you don't reveal. And I think that from having these open conversations, we're seeing more accountability, whether you want to go to the fact that me leaving the BBC just over 24 hours later, there was an apology. We are seeing accountability more so now than before.
Wow. Okay. I'm really impressed, man. I mean, I once again got sent in the timeline. Didn't know what I was stepping into here, but wow, very impressive representation there.
By presenter and comedian David Sideman from Manchester, by political commentator and writer Dominic Samuels, and from Bedfordshire, we're joined by G. Churara, former Met police officer and diversity trainer.
Oh, G. Churara, why did you be like that, G? I wasn't here to curse anybody out. I came here, like, just to, obviously, well, I came here to curse things out. I came here to look for the coonery. I came here to see whether or not the national media, which is what GMTV is, or GMB is, was going to utilize its position once again to put out a stupid, disgraceful story involving black people or some bullshit narrative, paint boxes, black letterboxes or some bullshit like that. No one's talking about it. Nobody asked me. There was no consultation. But now you're going to put the letterboxes to honor Black Britons. Who posts letter in their letterbox anymore? It's all emails now, isn't it? Right. So wow, that's good, isn't it? Everyone's going to see that these days, aren't they? Yeah, that's right. So with that in the back going on, I came here to see how they were going to utilize the platform. I saw the black faces. Right. Mr. Sideman. David Sideman Whiteley. Fantastic job. bruv, like you've gone up in my estimations. I saw your face floating around and everything like that. But can I just say, from one black man to another, you presented yourself in a very professional manner. You did not disgrace in any way, shape, or form. People are much better and more informed for hearing what you said. Yeah, man, like, don't worry, you didn't embarrass yourself at all. Nice one for representing the culture. I thought you did that really well. Nothing negative to say to you at all. Dominic Samuels. Oh, no, we can't stop on that one. That's not fair for her. There you go. That's fairly neutral. Dominic Samuels. Dominic Samuels, you represented yourself very well. Thank you very much. You got me screaming there. Nice one. On point. I slightly disagree with you because, yeah, there is Black Lives Matter, the grassroots outpouring of sentiment from watching a snuff movie in the early parts of the lockdown, and then there is the feminazi controlled organization funded by George Soros that's basically making money out of Black Death. So there you go. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, but right now we're splitting hairs, darling. We're splitting hairs. I'm with you 100%, sweetie. Well represented. You represented black people really well. Absolutely got no issues with you at all. You know, I can watch my Good Morning Britain. Not that I watch Good Morning Britain, but you know, it can come up in my timeline. I can see you click on it, and I'm not feeling anything negative afterwards. Well done, you. Nothing negative to say, but more power to you, young lady. Very beautiful young lady. You carry on doing what you're doing.
Political commentator and writer Dominic Samuels, and from Bedfordshire, we're joined by G. Chirara.
G. Chirara. G, man. G, like, I'm not going to be disrespectful, but you're out of step with what's going on right now. Right, there are, like, you would be perfect for the round table. You can chair the round table committee when we sort out the different sizes of taps that we use in the kingdom, right? And you can chair that committee, yeah. When we go to do the road signs in the kingdom, right, in the new city, right, then you can do the city planning. Right, and you can discuss and have as many meetings as you like, and you can do things incrementally, and you can have a slow process of development, gaining understanding through conversation and mutual understanding over a period of time. You can do all of that then, right now, this pathway, get out. This is not your lane. You need to get out of this lane, because the two that came before you, right, that's what's going on. That's 100% right there. Your supposedly pragmatic, wise elder, it's not flying anymore. That doesn't work anymore. It's not working on me, and I hope it doesn't work on the young people, because you have nothing underneath you. You have no foundation that anybody should really, anyone is inclined to listen to and attribute any authority over to you and respect over to you. Why? Because you used to be a copper? Because you used to run around and be like the other coppers who ignored all the racist jokes? Because you came through that time when it was rabidly racist? That's who I'm meant to... Nah. See, people like that... Black policemen who did their time in the 70s, 80s and 90s, you need to kind of step aside a little bit. Obviously you have things to contribute, and if your heart is in the right place, I'm not trying to dissuade anyone from being part of the movement if your heart's in the right place. It's not I'm not in any position to say whether or not anyone's part of the movement. It's not my place to say. However, it is my place. I will call out bullshit when I see it, yeah, and that smelt like old white supremacist pragmatic coon talk. That's what that sounded like to me. Right, you know, I mean, you try to be slick with it, right? And you have you got your picture in the background, slaves to be sold. Oh, this guy must be. You got your little DVD, and that's a DVD shelf, mate. It's not a bookshelf; it's a DVD shelf, right? I can see that. But anyways, right? I'm not, you know, if your heart is in the right place, but like, more power to you. But at the end of the day, in this dynamic, you're the one who's out of step. Right, because I'll roll with those two to death, yeah, before I have anything to do with you in the manner that you expressed yourself in the most highbrow of black discourse mainstream media interviews I've seen in a minute coming. I mean, is it because Piers wasn't there? Yeah, but well done on Dominic. Well done on Sideman dude. Yeah, whose name keeps escaping me. I'm really sorry. The Sideman guy who quit from the BBC, bruv. More power to you, right? And the Dominic Samuels girl, yeah, more power to you. Dudes, man, you're in the wrong place, and wrong place, wrong time for you. As I said, in the kingdom, yeah, you can chair the committee that oversees the painting of road signs, okay? And I'm sure you'll do a very good job at it. But as far as this is concerned, nah, mate, you need to move out of the way.